Ladies and gentlemen, John Brewer.
Wow. So Pat doesn't know this, but I just want to say that you guys are astonishing, and the presenters, that's hard to do. I was here yesterday, and the brilliance and the creativity, and I like sports, so I just want to say thank you to the crew backstage who went hard in the paint. So I'm getting in trouble when I leave here, but just want to make it real. So I'm really excited. I'm introducing the last session of today, David Rubinger, and my good friend, Tristan Walker. Moderating our session today is David Rubinger, a 2000 Leadership Atlanta alumni and market president and publisher of the Atlanta Business Chronicle. A graduate of Trinity College, David is an award-winning journalist and corporate communications executive who serves on the boards of the Metro Atlanta Chamber, the Convention and Visitors Bureau, Junior Achievement of Georgia, Emory University Board of Visitors, and Emory Center for Ethics. That's a lot. A native New Yorker, Tristan Walker is the founder and CEO of Walker & Company Brands, a consumer products company committed to designing personal care products that is a newly acquired subsidiary of Procter & Gamble, the conglomerate, who is ranked number 32 in the Fortune 500. On January 13th, 2020, Tristan's core brand, Bevel, became the first and only brand delivering head-to-toe grooming solutions that prioritizes the needs of people of color. Today, Tristan is still leading this company, and it's newly relocated to Atlanta as the first Black CEO of Procter & Gamble subsidiary in the company's 182-year history. Tristan is a Stanford MBA grad who holds a bachelor's degree in economics from Stony Brook University, where he graduated valedictorian. Prior to his founding Walker & Company Brands, Tristan's career included stints on Wall Street and at Twitter. He quickly shined as an entrepreneur in the residence at venture capital firm Andreessen Horowitz and oversaw strategic partnerships and monetization at Foursquare. Tristan is also the co-founder of Code 240, a nonprofit foundation that nurtures high-performing Black and Latinx coders and software engineering students. More than 100 fellows each year are placed at Silicon Valley startups at giants like LinkedIn and Airbnb. Tristan has recently been named the first ever Time Magazine 100 Next list of rising stars in business. In 2019, he was named one of Fortune magazine's 50 world's greatest leaders. Also named a USA Today Person of the Year, Ebony Magazine's 100 Most Powerful People, Vanity Fair's First Next Establishment, Fortune Magazine's 40 Under 40, Ad Age Creative 50, Black Enterprise's 40 Next. And last week, Tristan says was one of his most exciting days of his career, as it was announced that he was elected to the Foot Locker Board of Directors. He actually started this week. However, with all of his successes, Tristan notes that by far his most featured accomplishments are his wife, Amoy, and their 2 sons. Enough of me. How about we roll the clip?
Everything scared me about shaving, especially before Bevel. But the most fearful part was not having anyone to tell me what to do. Shaving is a rite of passage. It just took me 30 years to find that out. The first thing I tell my son Avery when he shaves with Bevel is that it was made for him and to take his time. We finally made the impossible possible.
Wow, that just makes me kind of shiver every time I see it. So, ladies and gentlemen, would you please help me welcome David Rubinger and your keynote speaker, my good friend, Tristan Walker.
Tristan, thanks for doing this.
Thanks for having me.
This is our gift to Atlanta, guys.
A lot of people in here.
when Tristan decided to move Walker and Company to Atlanta, he could have picked. You could have chosen any place to go in the country, and you chose this place.
Only one place.
So this guy's had big ideas all his life. But before we get to we heard all those accolades about you, right? But we got two New York guys talking to each other. But your life didn't start off making every top 40, top 50, top 100 list in the world, did it?
Definitely not. It did not.
It started off pretty rough.
Yeah. I like to say, the story goes, the whole rose that grew from concrete story, right? From Queens, New York, born and raised. Grew up in the projects, welfare, bouts of homelessness, all that, right? I realized at the time I had one goal in life, and that was to get as wealthy as possible, as quickly as possible. I realized at the time that there are three ways to do it. The first was to be an actor or an athlete. As you guys can tell, that didn't work out for me too well. The second way was to work on Wall Street, and we'll talk about that in a second. Worst experience of my entire life. And then I realized I only had one other opportunity, that was entrepreneurship. So I gave it my all, and I'm not wealthy yet, but I'm trying my best.
Well, I think you've gotten off to an amazing start. You lost your dad when you were 3.
Mm-hmm.
So that story in the commercial about not being taught how to shave, that's real.
No, it's very real, and it's not a story that's unique to me. My father was killed when I was 3. I don't remember much about him other than the fact that he was killed when I was 3 years old. I have 2 sons now,
right.
And it makes me think about the things that I took for granted, right? Learning how to shave, right? Something as simple and rudimentary, what's the word I'm looking for? Mundane, right? As learning how to shave is something that I was not afforded. And it's important to me, at least for my 2 sons, that they are afforded those opportunities that most folks are.
I want to talk a second about your mom, because we were talking earlier about executive function and how kids need to have good executive function to be able to succeed in life. It sounds like your mom was able to drive that executive function into you as a kid to keep you focused. It sounds like you weren't out on the streets. You go to school, you get A's, you come home, you study, you do your job, and you go back to school the next day.
Yeah.
Tell me what impact she had on you in this whole development of your life.
Yeah, so from my mom, I learned unyielding perseverance. My mom was a part of the Great Migration, right? She's from Tuscaloosa, Alabama, moved out to New York when she was about 18, late 60s, early 70s. And she moved to Queens, New York. And, she realized that she had no choice. And I had no choice. And thank goodness, especially where I grew up, I was the kid that had to make it, not only from my mother, but the folks that supported me, friends, family, aunts, uncles, etc. And she persevered. And I kind of look at her story. She inspires me to no end. And I'm very thankful for that unyielding perseverance, because I could have swayed in a direction that was all too recognized from where I grew up.
So one of the big pivots in your early life was in 8th grade, playing basketball and finding your way to the Hotchkiss School in Connecticut, one of the elite prep schools in America. You walk on that campus at day one, you don't have a computer, right?
Did not have a computer.
You're surrounded by wealth. What was that like for you at that moment? You've spent all this time on the streets in Queens, and now you're suddenly dropped into this, ideal setting in Connecticut.
Yeah, I was very blessed, very fortunate. I got a full scholarship to the Hotchkiss School, one of the top schools in the country. And I like to say it was the best or the most transformative 4 years of my entire life. I got to see how the other half lived. I'd go to school with Rockefellers and Fords and, folks of recognizable name. And I've been saying this a lot recently. I got to understand the experience of what name meant. I really did not understand what the legacy of name was, and that completely changed my life. And I've really dedicated the rest of my life to making the Walker name mean something, right? There are values that come with that name. There's inspiration that can come with that name. And when I kind of inspire that in my sons, I wanted to make sure that they recognize that. So I did get to see how the other half lived. I came in with no computer. Everybody else had a computer. I didn't know what a verb was. Everybody else knew what a verb was. I ended up getting a computer. I ended up learning what a verb was. And I ended up doing pretty well at the school. The most important learning that I had throughout that entire experience was that I could compete. Right? And that unyielding perseverance kind of persisted throughout that entire experience. And thank goodness that I did, because it did prepare me for the next stages of my life.
So you went off to college, had a great college career in terms of finishing at the top of your class. And then you decide, Wall Street's where you can make a lot of money.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
But it sounds like it was, you've said it was probably the worst couple of years of your life.
Yeah.
Why?
So I'm very deliberate about every stage in my life, right? During high school, I tried the basketball thing. Then I learned math, right? And the folks that actually go through that conversion funnel is actually pretty tough. While I was going to Hotchkiss, a lot of my friends' fathers and mothers were on Wall Street making tons of money. And I said, that's a viable path. All you do is make money with other people's money to, at the end of the year, make money for yourself, right? It's very objective.
Right.
I was an oil trader on Wall Street. You make money throughout the day. You either made it or lost it, right? Your balance sheet is right in front of everything for everybody else to see. So when I think about this kind of egalitarian, do what you can do and not have anybody subjectively critique your contribution, I felt trading was the best way to do it. Little did I know, implicit bias is everywhere, and you dealt with folks that suffer from what I like to call Napoleon complex, right? And folks that actually felt that they were more important than they were. And when you think about it again, you were making money with other people's money to, at the end of the year, make money for yourself. So it wasn't much fulfillment. And the last part about it, I'll wrap this in a bow, I got laid off. That didn't give me too much excitement, but the blessing in all that, I got laid off in January of 2008. I got 8 months of severance, and I got into kind of Stanford Business School at that time. 8 months of severance, which brings me to August of 2008, and the crash happened in October of 2008. So true testament to blessing, luck, timing, etc. But entrepreneurship was the only thing left.
Right. So you get out to Palo Alto. You're in Stanford, top business school in the country.
Yeah.
You think it's all about semiconductors.
Yeah. I mean, Wall Street, Atlantic Ocean, I want to get as far away from it as possible, right? I applied to Stanford. Business school is the only place to apply. Pacific Ocean, right? Literally and figuratively, when you think kind of the expanse of like difference, it's as wide as you can think. That chasm is very, very, very wide. I got to Silicon Valley, as you said, I thought it was where Intel was. They made semiconductors, right? And they got better over time. I was 24 when I got there in 2008. And I realized that the other 24-year-olds making millions of dollars, right? And I said, why did I have no idea about this place?